We are going to, Lord be our help, we're going to go through the book of Exodus now. All right, Brother Kai, we're gonna start from verse 1. Yeah, start from verse 1.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
All right. So, beloved, it gave the patriarchs, all right? The patriarchs, it gave the patriarchs. Why is it giving the patriarchs? There's 70 total people. Why is it not naming everybody? Question I'm going to throw to the class.
Because these were the heads.
These were the heads, absolutely. Is there anything else? So yes, these were the heads right from the children of Israel. Remember, Israel is the father's name, right? So that's why you get the Israelites. So the father, and then what? You get the 12 sons, all right? So all Israel. Okay, so it says them in their household. Okay, so those that had the family under them, these will all be a part of it. So in total, all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. Okay, so we have 70 people coming. All right. And also it's excluding saying that Joseph was already in there. Remember that at this time when we ended Genesis, well, during Genesis time, we see what happened with Joseph being sold and everything, and then they going up there, and basically they reunite. He said, "Go back, get my father, bring everybody, come up here. Y'all can live with us." All right. So picking up on there, so it's telling you everybody did come. Anybody got anything to add to this? Some of this stuff is going to be very straightforward. All right, Brother Kai, let's do the next 2 verses, 2 or 3 verses.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them.
So one thing Israel can do, we can make babies. All right. It's always been in there. All right. So fruitful, multiplying. Once again, using those things like most I use a lot of agricultural references as well. And also this is a deeper reference because also even how the body, remember the body came from what? The dusty earth, like from the ground. So when it talks about when the ground produces fruits, right? It's dealing with that, like the fruit of the womb. You hear those kind of things because it's all tied together. All right. So we're fruitful, increase abundantly, and multiplied, and wax exceedingly great. It's very important. And the land was filled with them. Okay. So we packed out that land. And you read verse, you stopped at 7? Or do you read verse 8? Okay. Right. Okay. Anybody else have anything they wanted to add? All right. So we're saying all of them died. So that generation with Joseph and his brothers, the father of them, that generation, brothers went out. Okay. So it's a new generation. So time has passed. All right. Let's do 8 and 9. 8 and 9.
Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
So a new king came up. All right. And it says what? One that did not know Joseph. All right. So remember the one Pharaoh or king had, reverence to Joseph, got favor from him. But, generations come down. Some of them, they don't sometimes keep those same ties. All right. So this one didn't give that kind of reverence. And he's looking at them and saying, the people, the children of Israel are more and mightier than we are. Now that tells you how much we was populating. We came in there with 70 and we was having so many kids, right? We actually outgrew, all right, Egypt. That's telling you there's a lot of babies came through. Okay. And he said, listen, they're more and mightier than we are. Read verse 10 because it's a continuation of 9.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them. These they multiply, and it come to pass. Then when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
All right, beloved. What's happening? Put in layman terms. What is this king, this new king of Egypt, doing to Israel? What's the issue? Or what's the concern that he's having?
Right now, as hard as pumping Kool-Aid, he thinking because it's so many of them, like they might join, a league with their enemies and rise up and fight with their enemies, because they multiplied. He on that type of time, but I don't even believe that they was really on that type of time. I believe they lived in the land. Well, they did live in the land of Goshen. They didn't even dwell with them. They lived, still set apart from the Egyptians, even though they multiplied. They didn't live with them per se, but they were scared. Pharaoh was getting scared because they multiplied, and he thought that they was going to start. They was going to turn against them eventually.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have anything they want to add to that? Anybody got anything to add to that one?
Yeah, one more thing, like the verse 10, basically he said, come on, let us deal wisely with them. So Pharaoh's whole plan was to break them psychologically and mentally. That's how you really destroy your people when you get in their head, and you break them down, So that was his whole plan. And as we're gonna read on, we're gonna see it's going to work.
Yeah, great point. And now one thing I will say, beloved, Kai is right. He's getting fearful looking at this. This is not a bad outlook when you're dealing with, remember, he's thinking about his people. I know it's so taboo because we're like the only people that don't think about our own people sometimes, right? But he's looking at that and saying, listen, it can happen, right? There's times in history where people did join with the enemy to overtake.
Facts.
Okay? So he's looking at it like, listen, if an enemy come, it's a real thing. Some people will make little leagues with each other and say, listen, we're going at the Egyptians. Why don't y'all join us? We come and then, we might split the land or whatever. That's a real good incentive. Okay. So this Pharaoh thinking about this, and we know the Most High is actually, he's allowing this to happen because we already know the Most High knows everything, how everything gonna play out. But this is one of the things that he want to have because he wanted to have a reason. He needed, not the Most High, but the king of Egypt need to have that reason to hate. So this whole thing can come about. That's going to come about these next few chapters. All right. So he's looking at this stuff and saying, man, this is going to happen. And this was sometimes, beloved, Scripture said to the pure, all things are pure. But also to the impure, beloved, everything's almost impure. You will start thinking things about others because you're impure. This is why even Christ talked about get that mote out of your eye. Because sometimes we can't see clear. You see somebody that's always dealing with, let me give an example. I always like to go to cheating. All right, let's just go to cheating for this example. Somebody that cheats, a lot of them think that other people are always going to cheat. They put that mindset into others. And so they'll start treating them like that, right? So there's certain things that sometimes you would fear. They're thinking about something Israel wasn't even, I don't think, considering Egypt or whatever, right? But that fear in their mind and probably what they would do, they impose that on Israel and what their mindset and what they're thinking of doing. Okay. This is why sometimes the thoughts, and this is one of the things Most High can also play with our thoughts and our our mindset when we don't serve him. And this is where a lot of people, when they don't have the peace of the Most High, this is the kind of stuff that comes about. Right? Oh my gosh, they might be taking my job. They're not even worrying about your job. They just try to do their job good. But because you have an evil mindset, now you're opposing that they have an evil mindset. Because you want to do, you think everybody else want to do that. So you have to be very mindful, beloved, that we don't do that. This is why I even talk about thou shalt not covet all these kind. Stop trying to, take what's others, but also even coveting, just wanting what theirs is. Okay, so don't let our mind race out and project certain things that sometimes somebody ain't even thinking about. Sometimes you'll call destruction to yourself. And this is the crazy part. You about to call destruction to yourself for somebody that's not even, they weren't even worried about it. And we've seen this even in the book of Esther, right? So this is something that we can also learn as well. Okay, everybody ain't thinking the same way. So, but nonetheless, it was something he was considering, thinking about it. Listen, we got to do something about that, because if they join and they overtake us, that's going to be a problem. All right. So they saying let's deal wisely with them, right? More like let's do something, so we can prevent this from happening. Okay. All right. Verse 11.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
All right. Anybody got anything for 11 and 12? All right, straightforward. They set taskmasters over to afflict them with burdens, so they got them to do some work. All right, this is where Israel now, we in some bondage now. Now you're doing work, we building. And what things we're building? They built the Pharaoh treasure cities, Python and Ramsey. All right, we hear about Ramsey. Often Python's in there as well. But who built it? We built it. All right. So we're building some stuff for them. Of course, they afflicted us to make sure we build it. And what happened? It says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they were beating us and treating us wrong, what happened? The more they multiplied and grew. We were still just multiplying and growing. They trying to give it, once again, listen, they working all day, going out, having your pleasure, we just kept on growing. All right. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And they're like, oh my gosh, we don't want them to keep growing. That's the problem. But we thought this bondage stuff might have helped them. Maybe they thought they was going to wear us out so much with work that we was going to be too tired to, do those pleasures. But no. Still doing it. What? Most High still blessing the womb from our women. Our women wombs was blessed. We still popping our babies. Okay. So this is grieving them more, like, oh my gosh, they're still populating. Okay. And the same thing, you see even the same strategy happening even here where we at as well, right? Some of the things were set up to destroy. Hope y'all, like, if you really go into history of some of those things. What is the parent, one of the abortion clinics, I forgot the proper name, how they set it up, but that was something to knock down the numbers of us. So we see the same strategy. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Even with COVID-19, I believe it was a strategy to knock down the numbers, but during that time, there was a lot of more babies being born. So at the end of the day, when Hebrews got extra time on their hands, they're gonna make those babies.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. I don't see nothing in the chat or anything, so let's keep going. Give us 3 verses.
Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick and all manner of service in the field. All their service within they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shaphrira, and the name of the other, Hua.
So, beloved, when they making these stories like this was all good and oh, it wasn't that bad. No, no, no. This was a terrible time now. Okay. So it's showing you what kind of bondage. They made their lives bitter with hard bondage. Okay. So they put all this extra stuff, right? So they can what? Make us go through it. Okay. So this wasn't no light time. They afflict us heavily. Okay. And it says, all right, vigor. They made their lives bitter with hard bondage. What is something we have something with the feast that's dealing with that bitter? Okay. Further on, we get the Passover. This was one of the representations of it. All right. So we do not forget. Okay. So we'll get to that when we get there. We'll make sure we go back here. But that's also a big clue we going forward. All right. That's why it's in the scriptures. All right. So now we got the king of Egypt, right? Speaking to the Hebrew midwives. All right. And specifically, they named these two. All right, let's keep going to see what he's going to tell these midwives.
And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive.
All right. What was the reason for this, beloved? All right, they get all these children and everything. And now this king of Egypt saying, listen, talk to the midwives. The sons, while they sit on the stool and everything, if they be a son, kill the boys. But if it's a daughter, let them live. What is the point of that? Sister Zoe?
Because the king thinks that the children of Israel, the sons will rule over them one day.
Definitely a threat. It's part of it, absolutely. What's some other things, beloved? Why is he saying, listen, because you worrying about them going over, why are you taking out the men?
Sister Angela put it in the chat.
To destroy the bloodline. Yes, definitely part of it. In what sense? It's definitely true. Definitely a big part.
Seed, and they know the female is just a host, so they can carry the other nation seeds. But you kill the seed at the root, which is the men of, Israel.
Yes, because if the women can, and I'm putting like it's breeding, whatever, but take the men out, the women's gonna what? They're gonna link up to the Egyptian men, and they ain't gonna be what? Egypt. That's how you just take over the nation like that, right? This guy, I mean, like I said, he was thinking it was smart. Probably could not kill all the children. They're getting too big. That's gonna be real quick and start uproar. But we'll take the boys out, and then what? We sleep with the Israelite women. There's some other parts too we can add too as well. How did I see you're off mute? I wasn't sure if you had something.
They saw the men, the males, as the source of strength. That's where the strength came from. Every father wanted a son, and every son was another son, and it kept on, and it kept, like Sister Anna said, that was the bloodline. And when we studied earlier, and it talked about the male was the center of the attention, basically. The way it was put, the bloodline came from the man. So one man, it wasn't like a woman could bring a child into the world. It had to be that tribe. To be that tribe, had to come from that man. It didn't come from the woman. It came from that man's seed. And for that man, it came down to, as you see with all the begats, it's, male and male, male. You never see a woman in there. It's always from one father to the son, and so on, from Matthew on down. Even with the lineage of Jesus, it came from the man to the man to the man to David on down to Joseph. So,
and so when you look at that, beloved, that is definitely correct. When you look at it destroys, and that's what Andrew thinks is so strong. It destroys the bloodline. It destroys the nation of Israel. I got all women. She's gonna sleep with the men. Now we just took over. All right. That's how you clearly get to the next generation. So when we look at this, that was a big point. Also, the demeanor that men have, beloved. All right. I tell you right now, you can ask some men on here. If it's 10 women, right, and there's 3 guys, a lot of times the guy's going to be like, I'd rather fight the 10 women than have to fight these 3 guys. Right. So we look at those kind of things, and not saying that women are just helpless and everything, but it's just factual, beloved. All right. They can literally make an army with men, and men will do the fighting. You know, wasn't a thing where women fighting ain't doing all this women chauvinist stuff. They had the little warriors and some other spots, but no, the men will go out. Our nation, we want to protect the women and children. We're not putting them on the lines with us. So when you look at that, another reason why you also want to destroy the men, because their whole thing was linking up with the enemy. All right. The enemy, no, they see a bunch of women and everything. They're not looking, oh, we're gonna make a league with them. No. But if they got some men there, no, we can use the men to go to war with them. Okay. So a lot of different things of why this is happening. Okay. So this is a setup that this king of Egypt is trying to do. What's another name for a king of Egypt? What's another name or title?
Pharaoh.
A pharaoh. Right. Pharaoh is not a name. When I was younger, I used to think that was a name. Like, oh, Pharaoh. Like, no, Pharaoh's, that's like king, or, and other things. They'll use different titles. That's that will be the leader of it. Okay. So when you say Pharaoh, that does not limit it down to this individual that's doing this. Okay. It's a title. Okay. All right. So tell the midwives when they get on the stool, kill the son and spare the daughters. All right. You can keep the daughters alive. Let's go to verse 17. Is that where we at? Or we read that one? No, we read 7. Yeah. All right. Give me 3 verses, 18 through 20.
I just want to point out in verse 17, I don't know if you pointed it out, but it said the midwives feared God. That's one thing that stuck out to me, and they had the mindset it's better to fear God than to fear man. So shout outs to the Hebrew midwives, our foremothers. I just wanted to point that out. You said 18?
Oh, that's a big point. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a mention of that. Yes. Great point with that. All right. So because a lot of times we always want to make sure we give those shout outs, because a lot of times we get overlooked. And women almost like, oh, we don't do nothing. No. We have some strong women.
Oh.
Girl. Right. They're not so we seen even in the Feast of Dedication, right? They were still doing the law right along with the man. Right? This is the kind of women and kind of unions we want to have. All right. It wasn't Israel strong because just the men. No, our women's what made the nation strong. Okay. Because the women doing their duty, men doing it, it flows beautifully. Okay. So definitely big shout outs to them. And like I said, that's scary. You get an order from a king and you go against a king's order. We know what that is. All right. But they rather die doing what thus saith the Lord, because they knew that was wrong. Okay. So definitely big shout outs to them and their upbringing, how they was taught. All right. Thank you, brother. That's a great point.
Well, praise. Well, praise.
And that's hold on. Sorry. No, you're good. I just want to make a point. Beloved, this is so strong because we supposed to look at all of Israel as our children. All right, mothers, y'all supposed to be looking at other children. It's like your children too. Sometimes we got so focused with this world, it's almost like, oh, you just worry about yours and all this stuff. No, we're a nation, beloved. Back in the day, the generation when I'm younger, right? That generation, like, you could get beat by almost anybody, right? So grow up where you get beat by this, or you're in the community. Like, we had to have respect all across the board. We all looked out for one another. All right. You see us without a coat in the winter, you get some rain, like, well, you better get a coat on, boy. Right? We supposed to have that feeling. So when you understand even the spirit behind them, no, I'm not killing them, because that's like killing my son, and I would never kill my son. I'd rather die before I kill my own child. Yeah, that's the spirit of God in them. That's them being in the fulfillment of that role they're supposed to be at, beloved. Okay? So like I said, definitely huge what they did. And this is very important. The Most High looks at this and he respects that and loves that. He's seen that saying, he's seen the love that they had towards the children. That's love for themselves. Easy to spare yourself. But they what? They had more love for what? Somebody else than their own lives. That's the greatest love, to what? Lay down your life for someone else. So you see, they was already walking in the spirit. Just through this action, you can see that they what? Love others. They love their brother and sister, even the children, you can say, right? They love them. And that's something we have to get back into our nation, our people, to love one another. I mean, I don't know how many times Christ was coming on there saying that, but this is how it's supposed to be. And what the enemy try to do is what? Divide and conquer. If I can divide them, conquer them. But when they're one, it's a problem. They know that. When you're one, it's a problem. These people are hard people. Look at the history. They'll say it. Man, listen, they start getting their temple and everything. They start being one and serving their God. Man, it's going to be real hard. Don't worry about the numbers. It's going to be very hard. But they would try to what? Try to divide us. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. You said 18.
And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered, or the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty.
All right, so they question that king, like, listen, why ain't you listen? All right, why these men children still alive? Why they still coming about? And they're like, listen, they're different than y'all women, right? They put a distinction with them. Listen, it's like women, as soon as we come up there, as soon as the midwives start to come, the baby's already delivered, right? You ain't gonna be killing them after it. That's gonna be a whole different kind of fight. So listen, by the time we get there, they're already here, they're lively. All right, ain't no, probably, 15, 20 hours, it can take a long time and everything for the children to come. They're like, listen, by the time we get there, when they call us and we get there, the child's already there. So we can't do nothing. Okay. Okay. And what? Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives. So he blessed them for that. Okay. For thinking about their people. And the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And this I always want to understand is the Most High wanted us. When we're in covenant, you are thinking about the nation of Israel, right? I know it can sound weird. I think when you think of any nation, right, you think of any like upbringing, they always prioritize their nation, okay? So even with them having that priority, that was what they're supposed to do, okay? And I make this point because it seemed like a lot of people, not a lot, I don't say a lot of people, but a lot of people have to have that understanding, but they don't understand the love of people. Definitely Israel, because what? Not because of us, because we God's anointed. And we already see there's actually blessing that come with treating God's anointed right. Other people understand that. Other nations knew that and did that for us. All right. But sometimes we kind of slip and don't do that. Like when we read the scriptures and everything, we can definitely get new text. It's like almost like we just forget about that. Right? If you look in history, look at everybody's history. Look at the history and see who they favored. Who do y'all think Egyptians favored? If it came between an Egyptian and an Israelite, who are they choosing? I'm throwing this out to the class. Maybe we don't know.
Israel.
No, the Egyptian. If it's an Egyptian, is the Egyptian going to choose an Israelite or an Egyptian when it comes to a matter? Who are they going to favor? I should say favor.
Egyptians.
They'll favor the Egyptians. If I go to Nebuchadnezzar with Babylon, if it's an Egyptian and a Babylonian, who's Nebuchadnezzar going to benefit or have favor to? Babylonian. It's not in the sense we think of race. We'll say racism. That's nationhood. That's not how you're supposed to think like that. I don't get mad people do that. That's what they're supposed to do. It always been that way. It's only new now that you will favor another nation over you. No, they always did that, beloved. If you go even in the history of the Babylonians, They even believe they're divine. Okay? Egyptians, we know the same thing. With us, we think that God came to say, you know what? Nah, you can choose. You choose. No, say you love your people, but also we are fair. That's the thing that's different. Even though I love Israel first, I'm not going to what? I'm not going to justify my brother doing something wicked and somebody doing righteous saying, well, I'm just going to get him because he's Israel alone. No, we are righteous. That's the difference. All right. But when it comes to loving, you'll see that. This is why even Christ was showing these same kind of things. And this is, I'm not even just Israel by bloodline, but those that come into the covenant. All right. I want to make sure that's clear. Because we had mixed multitude when we went out, but they got under the covenant. They will get favor. Those that choose our God gets favor. Okay. Those that decide they do not want to do the covenant and everything, don't get that favor. Even Israel got to that same wrath. Okay. Our brothers and sisters, they weren't choosing God. What did God say? Separate from them. Don't mess with them. Okay. And then he gave mercy because he had covenants that we'll get to later on in the reading. Okay. Sister Zoe, what you got? Is that the accident hand? Maybe that's the accidental hand. Okay. So I just want us to always see that, understand that. That's why even here, we got a duty, right? Got a duty to love y'all. Have that duty. Okay. When I'm praying, I put, definitely put all Israel, I put y'all in mind. Okay. This is why the only reason I'm bringing these kind of points up is because we sometimes don't understand even what God's doing and what he's trying to show us. Israel was in trouble. He married Israel. Israel have all these sins and things they did wrong. The king that we call the king of Israel, what will be the king's job? Let me just ask that. I know this is kind of sidebar, but what is the king's job? What is the king's job, y'all think? Don't think of it just in general. What would be a king or a leader's job in general? What's their mindset?
To protect his people.
Protect his people. To love his people. Okay? They will always favor. We will think it's crazy. I mean, it's so bad. It's America, we're wicked with certain things. But think about, the president of the United States favoring another nation over his own. We'll be like, that's crazy. If we talk about your children, you telling me you're going to favor somebody else over your own flesh and blood children, we would say that person's crazy. And so naturally, beloved. This is why when he's looking at certain things, he's going to give that favor because it's like, this is my people. I'm going to give them mercy. I'm not going to shoot. I'm going to give a little bit of mercy to my own, and then I'm going to give everybody all this mercy, and that don't even make sense on a natural level. Okay? So when we understand some of these things, we understand why certain scriptures and everything are used and why he's moving this way. Oh, Christ wasn't being just people say, being a jerk or mean when you say, listen, I came from the house of Israel because he's the king of Israel. That's why he had to focus on them, get them right. So yes, he did show favor to them because he signed that. He's going to be our leader. He's going to do that. You signed off that you're going to love us. So this is why he did this, and this is why he laid his life down. As a king would, a good king would lay his life down for the people. But the question asked is that not where it cut off and saying you don't deal with nobody else, but you have to what? You got to come under his banner. We teach our children what? You have to come under the banner. You got to be covenanted. If you don't be covenanted, you're going to be just like the rest. There's scriptures. It ain't saying you blessed because he's saying you have a bad child. That ain't a blessing. You got a child that don't want to serve God. He's saying the scripture saying that ain't no blessing. Because they'll always admonish them to you have to get under this covenant. You have to serve the Most High God to be truly his people. and for him to be your God. Okay, that covenant only happens when you are obedient and say, I want to serve you. And everybody got to make that point. As children, we train them up. We should be training them up and admonishing them to have that mindset. They get a certain age, they're going to have to choose on their own. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Where do you leave off at, brother?
I'm on 21 and 22.
All right, read.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
All right. So now we see the midwives fear God. He made them houses. All right. So they get a little benefit. But Pharaoh charged all his people. Right. Because the midwives were what? What nation was the midwives?
Hebrew.
Hebrew. All right. Why do you think now he went to his people? The scriptures tells us stuff. We just, sometimes they write every single thing out, but you have to understand it. Why is he saying now? And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that's born shall cast in the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. Why didn't he go? Why do you think he ain't dealing with the midwives anymore?
Because they weren't following his command. They didn't have to say that we're doing what God said. Just the sheer fact that these male children were still alive showed that they weren't doing what he said.
Mm-hmm. And they're compromised. They're tainted. He understand they still Hebrews. They still have a certain love and connection. Beloved, them sons they killing, they might not be their sons, but they're probably the nephews and all that stuff. Like, think about it. We was one day, we got one people, they family. I can't leave that to them. Okay. He understand. That's why I say that we get all crazy. They understand that. Egypt understood that. When he's saying, listen, we got to watch them. They're people growing up. That's why I said it wasn't a crazy mindset. That's how a king would think. I got to protect my own. That's my first priority. If they was growing and it wasn't going to interfere with them, he would have left them alone. But now when they can endanger mine, he's like, I can't take that risk. Okay? So like, I'm going to use the Hebrew wives no more. I'm going to get my people. Because surely my people will listen to me. And it's a shame that everybody got their nation and their people listen to their king. But when it comes to Israel, boy, we are tough people to deal with. All right. All right. But he charged the people, saying, that every son that is born ye shall cast into the river. All right. And every daughter ye shall save alive. So that's how that ends. And they did cast them in the river, beloved. Okay. All right, let's go to chapter 2. All right, we'll just do chapter 2, and then that will be it for tonight. Exodus chapter 2. Anybody had anything? Let me make sure I check the chat. Okay. I think we're good. All right, Exodus chapter 2, beloved. Exodus chapter 2.
And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife of a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brick.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything for the first 3 verses? Anything stood out to anybody for the first 3 verses? All right. So what's special about Levi? When we go into scriptures, what's special about Levi or their tribe or nation?
They were the priests.
All right. They were the priests. Okay. And it's funny because, I mean, it's specifying, right? A man of Levi is taking a Levi, because we know that that's actually, we go further in the laws that we're doing, right? We will intermarry in our tribe. Okay. Yes, there were things where some people marry outside. I'm not saying always, but primarily we will marry in the tribe to keep that inheritance in line. Okay. So just something to think about and see, because like I said, there's certain things you will see, whether they knew literally or not, it seemed like the spirit of the law and everything was still dealing with some of them, with some of the things they're doing. Okay. So nonetheless, Levi, and we know this is, well, everybody kind of know this is going to be Moses, right? So Moses is a Levite. Okay. He's a Levite. All right, let's keep going. And like I said, it's just so poetic, because who's supposed to give the laws to the people? Who's supposed to teach the people? Priests. So is it very appropriate that Moses will be the one that gives the law, because the priest would be given the law? All right. So that's why I say it's a lot of things that, like you said, the Most High, he's the Most High, so you can't be surprised. But a lot of these things is beautiful how he sets these things up. Okay. He's still manifesting his laws and his patterns. Okay. Prior to the nation even knowing the fullness of it, he was already showing certain things, beloved. All right. Okay, so they got him. He was a goodly child, and she hid him 3 months. She tried to hide him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she put him in the riverbank, and she made I guess a little basket. You kind of see it on some of the shows, and I guess they put the things there so it's kind of waterproof, right? And put him into the riverbank. Oh, excuse me. Let's keep going. Next 3 verses.
And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wet. And she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
All right. So, beloved, once again, wants to see something. This is faith. All right. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I want y'all to always remember, because we hear people saying all kinds of stuff and they don't have no idea, because they put it like faith established in Matthew's. Beloved, she put her child that's 3 months into the river. All right. Faith that something will come about. She wasn't put him in there saying, "Oh, well, he's going to die." No. She knew she couldn't hide it with her. She said, "I got to put it in the Lord's hand now." He put it in the river. And it says the sisters stood off and see what will be done. So the sisters following and everything. And then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. Do we think that's coincidence? I think the Most High moving. Okay. And her maidens walked along the riverside, and when she saw the ark with the flag, she sent her maid to fetch it. Okay. Now, beloved, just because you put the baby in, this ark and sailed it, did that guarantee that this baby was going to survive? Definitely when it runs into an Egyptian. What happened? It used a certain word. Most High moved in this. What emotion or thing he put over her? Anybody catch it? What spirit he put on her? Say that again.
Compassion.
Compassion. All right. We see in the scripture talk about compassion or mercy, right? So sometimes Most High will do things where like he harden it, where they basically won't, they don't, they're going to be stiff, that kind of, hard to deal with. And also you can have compassion and mercy, but he put that on her that she had pity on the child. She looked at her and said, "Shh." People say, "Oh, well, she's the mother." Listen, beloved, There's a lot of slaveries. You don't have to go that far. There's a lot of people that would not pity. They would not pity the slaves' children. Hopefully we can understand that. Literally, the command was, get the children and throw them in the river, kill them. That was the command. She's Pharaoh's daughter. I mean, I don't particularly exempt you from the rule, right? You still need to do it. But the Most High was moving in this. Okay? Gave her to have that compassion on it. And this is where we talks about praying, even when you're in the land of captivity and everything, talk about like praying for leaders and everything, so we can get favor from them. Because best believe, Moses' mother was praying. She probably didn't know how this thing was going to turn about, but she was praying, saying if there's a chance, it's only in you. Okay? And the Most High just guiding his baby and guiding him right to the right person. Okay? What's the chance of the daughter of Pharaoh? See, another person, regular person, right? Probably had, oh man, we see this. Probably took him out of the ark and threw him right in the water. Nah, I ain't getting in trouble going against my king, right? But he got the right vessel that can give that mercy. Okay. All right, let's keep going. That was verse what? That we ended on.
9. Hold on, no. 6.
All right. Going.
Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it.
All right. So this was good. Most High even, you see, he was on the sister, right? Came in there. And this is another aspect to think about, right? Maybe that even added more on the compassion. Maybe it was the mother coming like, oh, you try to be slick and got to get your child and now you want to take, nope. But it's like it's a girl, wait, you want me to, I see the baby, you want me to give it to one of the Hebrew women and have them nurse it up for you? How convenient. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. And not only that, I'm going to pay you wages. Think about that, sister. You get paid to take care of your own children, right? And I'm sure it was good pay. Getting it from a daughter of Pharaoh. So look how God still showed that mercy and what? Gave it right back to the mother. The mother was able to raise him up. Right? I don't know how long. I don't think it gives the details. Right? The proper time. Getting the same nourishment, what? As a Hebrew child would get. The same upbringing as a Hebrew child would get. Okay? So I know it ain't, of course we want to, have the child till they grow all the way, but that's a good consolation prize, beloved. The mother gets to have the child and raise him up and get paid for it. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going unless somebody has something. Let's see, no hands. Let's see nothing in the chat. Okay.
And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. Oh, my bad. Where am I? Verse 10. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
All right. So when we look at this, I guess you would call that almost like an adoption, right? She, Pharaoh's daughter, took him in as a son. Okay. So that's definitely you. So he learned some of the things of Egyptian ways as well. All right. So he's well versed. You look at this, you know it. He was well versed. But the one thing saying, you got to look at so many of his brothers, right, died in that water. But in that water came his deliverance, right? And this is beautiful. They drew him out the water, all right? That same device was he was using it to kill and destroy and try to wipe out the nation. But guess what? The deliverance came from the same thing they try to use to destroy our people. The Most High does that quite often. Mm-hmm. So it came to pass, I want you to listen to this. It came to pass those days when Moses was grown. All right, now he's grown. He went out into his brethren. They must have knew who his brethren was. And looked on their burdens. He looked at their hardships. And he spied an Egyptian smiting in Hebrew, one of his brethren. Okay? People talk about they want to be Moses, David, all that. Look what kind of heart he had. Okay? Verse 12. Hold on, we got a hand up. That was you, Kai?
Yeah. I just want to point out that I believe that when his mom had him for that short period of time, and we don't know how long it was, it could have been some years, that she had him, but before she finally decided she wanted to give him up to Pharaoh's daughter, you best believe that she told him that he was a Hebrew. She raised him up. That's how I knew that they was his brethren. You know what I mean? Because I overlooked this stuff. I thought, Pharaoh's daughter just raised him up, and he just happened to know that that was his brother. But I believe his mom taught him that. I just want to point that out. That's all.
Oh, that's a great point. Great point. All right. Moses wasn't going to share that burden with us, but he was like, "That's my brother."
Smart man.
I'm gonna live high up the.
Yeah.
I don't blame him though. He's like, "Listen, man, I can't get y'all out of it, but I'm watching y'all through it." But listen, beloved, look at the mindset he had. He's feeling for his brother that what? He's in Pharaoh's house, but his heart is with what? His people. Some of us, we start getting high in the nation. We start to forget about our people. I'm good. So, they got to fend for themselves. But this ain't how Moses was. Think of the qualities of a leader. Some people look at, well, when I'm good, everything else good. No, the leader's heart is supposed to be to the people. I ain't good till they good. Okay? So he looking at this Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. All right, let's see what happens. Verse 12.
And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
Y'all know what that is, right? Look this way, you look like, let me see if anybody looking. You know what I mean? The Bible paint that picture. You know what I mean? You about to do something bad, you look like, let me see if anybody looking. And he went out there and what? He smote that Egyptian. Okay? And I believe the Most High had mercy with it because what? He's actually, take it how you want, he's actually showing the scriptures. What is he fulfilling right here? Let me ask that. What is he fulfilling? Now, I'm not promoting nobody kill nobody. Nobody take this out of context. What is he fulfilling though? This is huge. We was talking about it earlier. Not you, Kai. You guys know. What is he fulfilling, Moses, with doing this? What's one of the biggest things? Definitely Christian.
Right?
Say that again.
He was loving thy neighbor.
Yes.
As thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Seen the condition of his brother, and he literally laying his life down for his brother if he can receive it. He's loving his brother. Love it. It's just like when you tell your kids all the time, right? If you got more than one child, right? What's one of the things you tell your children? Definitely the older one or whatever. You say what? Look out for your little brother. Look out for your little sister, right? Now, what parent? I'm just making it calm so we can understand the deeper aspect of it. If your child is getting jumped or they get beat down, almost get beat to death, and your child jumps in to help their brother or sister, how would you feel about that child, beloved? Would y'all be mad at that child?
Proud.
Be proud. I just want y'all to think, because sometimes we get into this Bible, we start losing all sense. but he's actually fulfilling it. You'll be proud saying, yes, you're supposed to. Now you understand the commandment of love. Because we're teaching it, but we don't understand it when it's coming out of fruition. You seeing your brother and sister getting beat down, and you just sitting there like, well, it ain't my problem. That's on them. No. You better go in there and help your brother and sister. And that's how you're looking at it. Moses went there helping his brother and sister. There ain't nobody, I hear nobody that had kids. If your kid getting beat, they ain't about to die, and somebody came in there and hurt the other person, even, God forbid, it comes to death, kill the other person, you are not going to be boo-hooing like, oh my God, why did they go and kill that person and not why did they just let my child get taken? Y'all ever hear a parent say that? They should have spared the other person, let my child be taken. No. So this is the same thing. Okay? This is not an Egyptian them just having an argument with a Hebrew. He go in there and just kill. Nah, that'd be something different. His brother's life is being on the line. And he went to intercede. And this one, unfortunate or fortunate, however you want to see it, caused that Egyptian his life. Okay? And some things when you stand it, it's going to cost you your life. You stay on this truth, it's going to cost you your life. These activists and these, some of these brothers you hearing and seeing and everything, even the women, right? They going out fighting for their people. They fight because they love them. And sometimes it costs them their life. That is the ultimate love. Okay? So I just want us to see that. But once again, remember, it got Moses one of the meekest man on the earth. Okay? But it's still showing demeanor, because some people we have this, tainted vision of certain things, even how righteousness and all this stuff look like. So I want to make sure we seeing how the scriptures are relaying these things, and we can understand and see the, spirit behind it. Okay. Moses actually showing love. Okay. I know love, love would have been just turn the other cheek and just get beat after death and let them just die, and you sitting there and start praying. No. Okay. That's not it. All right, let's keep going. Verse 13. Is that where we left off?
Sure.
Yeah, so he hit him in the sand. Yeah, so he hit the body. All right, verse 13.
And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together, and said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow?
All right. So now this is the second day. All right. And now you got 2 Hebrew brothers fighting. All right. A little change. All right. You got 2 of them fighting. And they said to him that did wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? Okay. Read verse 14.
And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
So what's the ironic thing about verse 14? I find it funny a little bit. But what's the funny thing about verse 14, beloved? What they say. They said something, and you'll hear people say certain slick comments. They think they being slick. Read that first part, Brother Kai, in verse 14.
Who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
So he see one of his brothers doing wrong. All right. He said, listen, what are you doing? And that brother responds saying, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Beloved, who made Moses a prince and a judge over them? The Most High. All right. That's why I say it's the funny thing. He literally made them a ruler. He is your prince. He is your judge. And the Most High made him that way. But the Most High, I want you to understand, beloved, the Most High is forming you even before sometimes you get the manifestation and maybe even the title, right? Because they didn't recognize Moses their leader to kind of, I guess when they kind of leaving out of Egypt, maybe, right? But Most High already was grooming them even prior to. And this is something even with us. The Most High was already grooming us to what we're supposed to be. Right? Sometimes we didn't get the manifestation, but he's already grooming. He's already putting things in your life and doing things in your life to walk in a certain path he wants you to go to. That's why he says all things work together for good for them that love him. You'd be like, man, that's a hard saying. Lord, I've been through some stuff. I don't think you want me to go through for you. You know what I mean? All things work together. You should. You look back and you start thinking about the things you've been through. A lot of things made you wiser. It made you smarter. Right? Sometimes it made your testimony stronger. And this, a lot of times, was for a purpose. That's why I say sometimes don't don't be so angry at your past with some things, beloved. Some things the Most High was suffering you to go through for his glory, because it's about his glory. It don't seem joyous at the time or the point, but a lot of us are way smarter because of the things we went through. Try to think about even how you move, how you see certain things. You're way smarter because of what you went through. There's something about experience. All right. Experience is greater. You know, this is why even on the jobs, they start to understand that. Yeah, this person got a college degree, maybe a master's degree, right? But they want that person with 4 years experience. They're like, I've been in school for 6 years. Nah, I need that person with 4 years experience, because that experience teach you stuff that book sometimes don't get you. And that same thing with this. You got to experience these scriptures, not just read them. You got to go through it. You got to experience these things to know that this thing is real. Some of us just want to read the book and don't want to apply the knowledge that we're getting. But the knowledge plus the experience, that's what's going to mold us to truly what we're supposed to be. But a lot of us don't want to endure. We don't want to go through nothing. We just want to hear about the stories of David and them and the 3 Hebrew boys and this, you know, and be all joyous. That's good to understand them, beloved. But you got to get to that level with them, right? This thing was written that you can get there. Not to put it so much on the shelf that, oh man, we'll never get there. The Most High put up. No, the Most High is showing these things saying, what? This is so you can look at this and be admonished and get to that level. How many of us read and say, listen, I can be just like Moses. I can be just like David. I can be just like Isaiah. Sisters, I can be just like Esther. I can be just like these midwives. How many of y'all read that and say, this is what I want to, I can be just like them? Or do we read it saying, man, they're like heroes. We can't get to them. They got superpowers. We can't get to them. 2 different experiences you can have in this book. He said, so great cloud of witnesses. He given these things. So when you go through, you be like, this is like my 4-5 formula did. I can do it. It's possible because I seen him do it. He don't give you these things to say, well, that's good to see these people there and we read about it. No, he wants you to be that. And that's the difference from the truth is that we push that you be that, not like it. We want you to be that. Did it say let this mind be in you that's found in Christ? He didn't say another mind, a GMO mind. He said let that mind, not 90% of that mind that was in Christ. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Did this give a percentage, Brother Kai?
Nope.
It said let that mind. If you would have cracked his mind open and really would understand the mind, that's the spirit. Okay? Don't think about this, the brain. That spirit. Let that same spirit that was ruling in God in Christ, let that be in you. This is why someone don't understand. That's why when we move in the spirit, we can move just like Christ. But we want to sometimes push him so far away. That wasn't the point of the scriptures. He put him here to be an example. That's why he said, I'm putting him in the suit so y'all can see him, how he's moving on this earth, so you can see that you can do it. understand it, beloved. When we're reading this, I want us to constantly say, this is who we are. Keep telling you every time I wake up, I'm holy, I'm righteous. Keep telling yourself that, beloved. And you're going to start to see that certain things are going to be beneath you. I had to go through a whole psychological not say evaluation process. That's part of repenting. Because, beloved, we got taught some bad doctrine. And that doctrine is the thing that's setting you to make you weak and faint. That's why the Most High said, I'm not got a problem with the pastors. Because they caused my sheep to be this way. That's not how we're supposed to be. Okay? We can do this thing because we got the same spirit as Christ. When he's walking on that water, Peter said, I want to go out there. Oh, no, this is for me, Peter. Now, this is a special ability. What do you tell him? Come on, then. Because what you see me do, you should do. You see me laying hands, you can do it. He wasn't doing this stuff at the show, so you put them all. No, he's saying you can do it. He was being a role model for us, beloved. These are forefathers. Look at them. We can be the same way. I told you this one little exception. Is that what? They had a different mind. They made up in their mind, we're going to serve God no matter what. And we still ain't getting that mind in there. They take the excuses out, but we keep them in it. We got to take that out. Lord, whatever you have me to do, I'm doing. That's why they're at this level. And that's the only thing that separates us from them. Is that we not at the level we're saying, Lord, whatever you do, I'm going to do. We think about all the reasons why we can't do it. We think of how all the reasons it can fail. Instead of the one big reason of why it's going to happen, because we got God with us. Because greater he that is in me than in the world. That's the only reason you need that you can do anything. Because not because it's the spirit in me. That same thing that was in Christ is the same thing that's walking in me. Same thing that was in David when he fought against Goliath is the same thing in me. The same thing in the Hebrew boys when they was going to fire. That same spirit's in me. Or do you think you got a different spirit, beloved? Because there's not many. Either you got the spirit of God or you don't. There's no in between. So just walk in it. It was the Father's pleasure to give you his spirit. You got a spirit, beloved. You can do it. Okay. All right. We sidebarred. I apologize. Kai, where we at?
On verse 15.
All right. Let's keep going.
Now, when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now, the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the trough to the water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock.
So once again, we seeing this. And this is why when Moses heard them saying you will kill us like you did the Egyptian the other day, he's like, man, this is going to be out there. And if you know anything about people, boy, we will spread some news and some drama. So he knew, oh, I got to get out of here. This is going to spread. Okay. And sure enough, it went to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh didn't care that was his daughter's son that she born. He got to go. Because he really ain't us. You really understand? He really ain't us. And that's when it comes when they start getting to certain times, beloved, people start separating. They all cool to get to a certain point. And nah, you ain't really us. Okay. So he's like, listen, we're gonna kill him. He killed an Egyptian. And this is how it goes across the board. When we go to New Testament, right? The same thing. Well, that's why Paul used the card against them. Like, yo, wait up, y'all about to persecute even though you're a Roman citizen? Y'all know y'all can't do that. I told you every nation goes with the same rules. It's just us that kind of forget it. You can't treat them like that. You're gonna have a problem with the king. You go here and persecute a Roman citizen improperly. You know, you got to go through the courts and the proper channels. So the same thing, beloved. As I said, ain't nothing new and everything. This is something they always did. Okay. All right. So now he comes and they're watering they're getting the water flocks, and quite often the women would go to do that, right? They'll go. You got a well, you can give it and give the flock something to drink. All right. Okay. What verse we at? 18.
Mm-hmm. And when they came to Ruel, their father, he said, "How is it that ye are come so soon today?" And they said, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock."
So he's saying, listen, Ruel or Jethro, you'll hear that name too. All right, Jethro, like, how y'all get back so soon today? This is a little quick. And they saying, this Egyptian helped us. I mean, he shoot away the shepherds. The shepherds usually interfere, but like, nah, he shoot them away and he helped us water the flock and all that. Okay. Let's see what else. Verse 20 and 21.
And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
All right. So what is this? What is Jethro showing? He's submitting. What is he showing right there in verse 20? I'm thinking of it, but it could be a different word. What was that, sis?
I was going to say his appreciation.
Appreciation. Hospitality. Oh, but I'm getting feedback. All right. So yes, he's showing that appreciation. Listen, y'all just told me this man done shoot the way he protected y'all from the other shepherds, helped y'all get the water and everything, so y'all get back, and y'all didn't even think to invite him in. I mean, invite him over, right? So like I said, these are those times as well. All right. The women could have been thinking stranger danger, who knows? But like the brother showed himself honest. You can at least have him come back and deal with us. So like I said, nothing ill will on either side. So you're like, listen, bring him in. He showed that kind of work towards y'all. Bring him in. Let him get something at least to eat. I mean, the work he did for y'all, at least you could eat. And this is the hospitality, beloved, we should be having, right? Of course, with this world, don't we just bring people in your house and all that stuff. People got all kind of motives, but this is how in our nation it would be, right? You come into my house, you want to be hospitable, right? Whether you need something to drink, they used to also like wash people's feet. I'm not saying you got to do that, give them a whole pedicure and stuff, but we will show hospitality. All right. So even Jethro, he's not there showing the same kind of thing. Okay. And then Moses was content to dwell with the man, so he agreed to come in and eat with them and gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. I don't think that was the same day, beloved. But so he must have showed himself. He must have, as a father, looked at him, see what kind of character he had and all that stuff, and seen that he was fit to be able to give his daughter to him. Okay. And once again, that's something you should look at as well, if that's possible. Okay. You want to vent. Do not let the children vent. All right. Because children, we know we all was children young, even old, we can do this, right? You get all googly eyed, you start loving, and they say what? Love is blind. Love is blind, love is stupid, one of the two, whatever one you want to choose, right? But you need somebody sometimes eyes outside of it looking in, because they can see more things that you're probably not catching. Okay. And this is where wisdom and experience come with. Sometimes children, you think you know it all, right? Mom just don't want me to be happy. Daddy just don't want me to be happy. They don't understand it. And you as a parent looking like, no, I fully understand. But you don't have as the scriptures talk about your, what it says, exercised. It's dealing with discernment. I know discernment is in that verse, right? You don't have that exercise yet. You don't understand. You're looking at the wrong things. Young brother, you looking at the wrong things. You just drooling, but you're not understanding she's gonna be a headache in the future because you're not looking at these things. You ain't looking at the attitude. You ain't looking at all that stuff that's coming with it. You just looking at that. You letting the little head think for you, right? And then women, sometimes what? looking at him for the wrong reason. It's this, oh, well, he got a good job. Well, he got a good job, but his temper don't seem good. He don't look like he reverence women. He don't look like he got this kind of reverence and this kind of stuff, right? Certain things you probably won't see. So this is why the Most High put some things in order. And like I said, it's still, listen, even with that, beloved, I'm going to tell you, it can still go wrong or whatever, but you have to do everything we know to do. Okay? Then you put it in the hands of the Most High. You don't go in there blindly saying, I'm going to do this. And then, Most High, he's merciful. He can do it. No, that's not how it works. You take all the precautions and everything you need to take. And then you say, Most High, well, I try to check off every single thing. Now he can move and show that mercy if things go south. But if you go in there just blindly, you want to do what you want to do and then saying, well, Lord, do it. No, now you're tempting him. And we know scripture says you ain't supposed to tempt him. Well, I know he don't really love God and, this and that, Don't come to me with that. I'm training my son. Don't tell no woman, well, she don't serve God and everything yet, but she got a good soul. What? Compared to what? Because we got to get him according to the scriptures. Nope. You want to do it on your own, but I'm not giving a blessing on that. Okay? So this is all, like I said, this is part of the covenant, beloved. I want you to understand that when you sign off, it ain't just, I'm going to do the Sabbath night. This is all part of it. Okay? This is how you build it back properly. Get back to righteousness. Okay? We got far from it. We got to get back to the old path. All right, Brother Kai, you talking too much. Let's keep going.
Verse
20, finish it up. And then I'm going to look at this.
And she bare him a son and called his name Gershom. For he said, I had been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried. And their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning. And God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them.
Right. So 21, we always see that, a lot of times they'll name them after something they do. Okay. So this one, because he's in a strange land, Gershom represent. Moses drawn from water, that's his name represents. So we see these kind of things happening all the time. All right. So verse 33, and it came to pass in the process of time. So we see the king of Egypt died. All right. And the children of Israel sighed. And they said they started crying to the Most High God. Okay. Now something got to look at. Their cry came up to God by reason of their bondage. All right. So they really crying. When you're going through it, that cry get a little more serious. Okay. And God heard their groaning. So, beloved, was God deaf until a certain time? What did it mean he heard their groaning and he remembered covenant? Okay. The Most High always can hear. But now he's what? It's just when you use metaphor or comparison, he's just basically saying, I'm hearing, I'm about to answer. Okay. There's certain seasons you'll be quiet. Okay. Sometimes to see what you're gonna do. All right. So God heard their groaning, and God what? Remembered his covenant with Abraham, because he can't forget. This is where I say this. There's certain things we got to catch. He remembered his covenant. Not particularly, well, they're part of it, but what he said, he goes to the forefront, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I made something with them. I can't forget that. That lasts for a long time. This is why it's so powerful when we do it, because what? We put them in remembrance of the covenant. Like, I won't forsake him. Yep. Even when he get mad, we start crying out. He's like, all right, let me get out of it, because I made the promise. He's not like us. We get pissed off. Well, I don't care what I said as a promise. I'm not going to. Nah, God ain't like us. Thank God he's not like us. All right. Like, I remembered it. Okay. So let's look at some stuff. I just want to take it to two spots. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15. So I remember promises. Genesis chapter 15. What happened?
No, I said con.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Go to Genesis chapter 15, and we're going to just read Let's just do 13 and 14. I'll be nice today.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
All right, so this is dealing with that time, beloved. Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. Was Egypt, or what was that, Ramses, whatever, was that our land? Well, Goshen, I'm sorry, Goshen. Was that our land? No. Right? So we were strangers in that land, passing by. It wasn't ours. Okay. All right. The land that is not theirs, it shall serve them. You're going to be strangers in the land, and you're going to serve the people that have that land. Who is that land for? That was the Egyptians. He's talking about we're going to be in captivity. Listen, he's telling you this when they're not even thinking about Egypt and all that stuff. But he's given to let you know, I know everything that's going to come about. He's already shown us the deliverance. He's showing you you're going to get into something and you're going to get delivered, all in the same covenant. And they shall afflict them 400 years. That's why I said it had to be a certain time. It wasn't that when they said he went and now he remembered the covenant and everything. Yes, but he still had that time. The covenant was still dealing with certain times, so he still had to wait. Okay, that's why I say God has to make sure all these things is precise. All right. Verse 14, because it didn't end there. Verse 14.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance.
What is this talking about, beloved? I'll open that to the class. What is that talking about in verse 14?
When they left Egypt?
Also that nation, so he's still talking about that. It was in Egypt. Also that nation, even Egypt, whom you're going to be serving, I'm going to judge them. We know how he judged them, right? How did he judge them? Let me stop giving out answers. Say it again. With the plagues. So when he even talking about I will judge my people, even with us, that's what he be hitting. They always good, that's what he's gonna judge them. Are you doing? He's gonna straighten us out. All right. So with them, he judged them with the plagues. And afterwards, after the plagues, what? Shall they come out with great substance? Another point. What was the great substance that he's talking about that we came out with? Anybody remember? What is the great substance he's talking about?
Cattle, flock.
The Egyptian,
Say that again, Elder.
the Egyptian riches, because they gave a lot of things to them just for them to get out of there.
Spoiled. Remember, it says they spoiled us, right? They was giving us stuff saying, get out. And they was giving us all this stuff. So he's already telling you this was going to come to pass. Y'all will leave with great substance. Y'all came in with some good stuff, but y'all going to leave real good when y'all leave out of here. Okay? That'll be hard to see while you're going through the affliction and bondage and you looking at slavery like, I don't see how this is going to happen. But Most High already was telling us this was going to happen. Okay? This is why sometimes we don't know fully how it's going to come about. But we just have to have faith. And this is why I say the same thing about Revelation. Sometimes we're trying to figure out, well, how are we going to get the substance? They have to go like this. Listen, you won't get it. Sometimes you focus on the wrong thing. Just believe and be patient and do what you're going to do. Okay? All right. So once again, just showing a quick piece of that. All right. Let's go to Psalms 105. And I'll be done here. If anybody else got anything to add, you can. I want to go to Psalms chapter 105. Brother Kai, I want you to start at verse. Give me verse 1, and then we're going to jump down to verse 6. Give me verse 1, then we'll jump down.
Oh, give thanks unto Yahweh. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people.
Verse 6.
Oh, you seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is Yahweh, our power. His judgments are in all the earth. He had remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations.
Hold it. He had remembered his covenant for how long?
Forever.
And the word which he commanded to how many generations?
1,000.
Thousand.
That's a beloved. What y'all realize? 1,000 generations. Now, I just want to paint a little picture. When we go to Matthew, it gave us some generations. How many generations was it dealing with? Who did it start with, and where did it go, and how many generations? You can just give me the rough amount. Just want to give y'all a little picture. This wasn't part of the plan, Brother Kai, but
No, good.
the book of generations of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac. He's starting from Abraham. And remember the book. Abraham is in Genesis. He gets through all these names just to get back to Christ. We can just add generations. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David until the carrying away from Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying into Babylon into Christ are 14 generations. That's not even 100 generations, beloved. Just want y'all to just put y'all stuff in context. That's not 100 generations. And that's from Abraham to Christ. Didn't even scratch the surface. That's all booked. But he said his covenant is going to last what?
Mm.
Where's it at?
My.
Well, it don't look like the law was done away with, huh?
I ain't going to say nothing. I'm just saying, I'm just reading. Y'all put it where y'all want. He had remembered his covenant forever. The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. So me, because like I said, I don't put myself as smart. At least I got to get to 1,000 generations. He said his word at least lasts to 1,000 generations. I think forever, but he said 1,000 generations. We didn't even get to 100 from Genesis all the way to Matthew. And from Christ to even now, I hope we don't think we even got to 500 generations. Something to think about. All right. All right, let's keep going. I'm just showing this to show, beloved, he don't forget. The point I'm getting at, he don't forget. He's not forgetting us, beloved. He's like, listen, I'm going to remember the covenant. It don't matter if it ain't literally where you count 1,000 generations, but even if it got to 1,000 generations, I won't forget what I said back over here 1,000 generations ago, not 1,000 years ago, 1,000 generations ago. I'm still remembering the covenant. So when we cry out to him, I know he's hearing. Not because of me, because Abraham. I'm not going to forget that. So when we get together, we cry out, even in the land of our captivity, he already prophesied he's going to hear us. Why? Because I don't forget my covenants, even to 1,000 generations. Okay? Thus saith the Lord. All right? All right, let's keep going. That was verse 10, verse 11.
Saying unto thee, will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance.
I forget the land of Canaan is the lot of your inheritance. I gave it to you. That was part of the covenant. In verse 12.
Well, they were but a few in number, few men in number, yea, very few, and strangers in it.
All right. So I'm going to go there, and like I see, I'm just going to cut it there. Now, so we look at this, beloved. Remember, when they left out, they were only what? That's why I said it. They were only what? 70 souls. They were very few. Okay. But he still what? Had the memory of the covenant that what? They're going to still take over. I still got that for them. Even when they couldn't see themselves, I still have that for them. Because it was the covenant that I already made with the forefather, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. So our God don't forget, beloved. All right. He remembers the covenant that he gave to us. This is why when we get into when we bind that covenant with him, right? We enter that covenant saying, we're gonna do whatever you say, you're gonna be our God and everything. And he said, all right, I'll be your God. All right. When he do that, we enter into it. You don't forget. We can count on him. All right. We can count on him for the rest of our lives. This is the God we serve, beloved, and another example of how he still followed through with his promises. And with that, beloved, wait, I'm sorry, did anybody have anything they wanted to add? I didn't open that up.